Hey everyone, it's so good to see you. And we are so excited. We have Steve Silbar, and he is an individual agent. He is a top 2% of all Spokane realtors, and he does anywhere from 30 to 50 transactions a year. We're going to be talking about business highlights, neighborhood highlights, so much more. So, Steve, welcome.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
So, one of the things that I think is so underrated is the idea of doing, we call them business highlights and neighborhood highlights. So, business highlights is where you just go in the community, bring an iPhone with you or a camera, and just highlight that business. And then doing a video about the community, right? Like picking a neighborhood and talking about that neighborhood, but you do a really cool twist on it, and you kinda combine the business highlight and the neighborhood highlight all into one. So talk about exactly how you do that.
Yeah, no, I love talking about this. What's interesting, Chantel, is how you said there's the business and the neighborhood. Um, Through my transition in the nearly 8 years I've been a realtor, um, I started with my own YouTube show called Ask a Blank. And basically, we were interviewing anybody that was related to the community or real estate. So it could be a lender, could be an inspector, could be an investor. And I started that as a YouTube show early in my career. That then turned into doing that, which is really interviewing businesses with Parkbench. From there, I went to American Dream TV and I was hosting Spokane for a year. And again, it was really some real estate, really talking about the businesses, but I really changed gears a few months ago and jumped off American Dream and created an Instagram reel called Hoods of Spokane. And what Hoods of Spokane is, it's kind of the culmination of this process over the years where we've taken the time frame down to about a minute and a half, 2 minutes. So basically, we're trying to match the attention span of most people who are watching things online. And we're focusing, very fast paced on neighborhoods, businesses, attractions, things like that. So we're involving the community. And in Spokane, it's really a small city made up of a bunch of different neighborhoods. So we can just bounce around in the different areas, talk about those, show them off. And then we tag the businesses as well. And we're getting great response from it so far. So we've been doing this for about 3 weeks now. And in the last couple of weeks, we have over 7,000 views. And people are starting to tag each other and make comments. So we respond back. The whole idea is obviously to generate awareness for myself as a realtor, but it's not real estate centric like some of the other things I've done before.
So we had one, and I'm gonna ask Heather to share her screen right now, but just so you guys know, we had one, I think, that got over 1 million views. Do you remember when like the new place Jump came out? You know, the place like the jumping houses that came out? And they had the CEO, I can't remember if it was Jump or one of those brands. I can't remember which one it was, and the CEO loved the video so much that he put it on his and then advertised it. We had over 1 million views. So go ahead, Heather. Let's watch a couple of his videos and see how well some of these have done.
Hi, it's Steve with Hoods of Spokane. Today we're in the Garland District. This is a fun area just north of downtown. A lot of great things to see, so let's go plug in. And right in the heart of the Garland District is Mark's Guitar Shop. Come in here, get your guitar tuned up, or buy a new one. In the heart of the Garland District is the Garland Theater. This is an old school movie.
Okay, perfect. We'll watch one more of those, but
Hi, it's Steve with Hoods of Spokane, and welcome
go ahead, Heather. It's fine.
to our second episode. Today we're in Liberty Lake, one of the fastest growing areas of Spokane. Let's start in the River District. And our first stop is Three Ninjas. And right next door, New Love. And after your coffee fix, come over to Mavericks, get your hair cut. It's a new brewery here too. It's called Emery's. Has a rooftop deck. And if you're like me and have a sweet tooth, you need to be here. Let's go inside. And if you need your Texas barbecue fix, come right here to TT's. The brisket is awesome. Great neighborhoods need great pizza. And right across the highway in the heart of Liberty Lake, we've got Fujiyama. And the area is still growing. We have even new restaurants like Bangkok Thai. And it's springtime, so get your golf game on at Golf Tech. And if you're looking for neighborhoods, Legacy Ridge is one of the best ones around. There are beautiful newer homes in here, wonderful sight lines. There's open land as well to build on. And once you got your game in shape, come over to one of the 3 golf courses. First, it's newly renovated Trailhead. So we are in the Rocky Hill neighborhood, and this is an example of a neighborhood about 15 years old. It was developed by Greenstone, which has built a lot of the homes in Liberty Lake and really designed this area. It's a beautiful area. People love it here. Look, a dog. Most neighborhoods don't have a lake. This one does. And there's a reason it's not just called Liberty and it's Liberty Lake. Thanks for joining us on this edition of Hoods of Spokane. This is the Liberty Lake edition. Come back next week for more.
I love that. So one of the things that we do, and I'll kind of put the link in the chat and let you guys do. So this is a twist. This is a big twist on what we had kind of talked to a lot of our agents about, and a lot of our agents were doing it. If you go to canzel.com/business highlights, what they would do is they would go into, and we just put a couple of simple samples there, but they would pick one business, and then they would just do that business, right? So they'd be like, hey, this is Jenny with Canzel Realty, and today I'm here with the owner of, such and such coffee shop here, and tell us about your coffee. And then you would just literally do a quick video of it. If you're ever in this area, please join them. Their coffee is amazing. And so they did that. What I like what you did is, and then people did the other thing where they just did a specific neighborhood, right? They would say, here we are in Allenton neighborhood. It's close to Great Neck. The schools are this. It told you all of that. You tied the two together, and you didn't necessarily have to get the business owner and plan it. You just kind of talked about it and then tagged them in it.
Right.
Which is a good twist.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, we do go into some businesses. Those 2 videos, again, those are kind of the early ones. We shot one yesterday in the 5-mile area of Spokane, and we decided as we were going through the process, Greg, my videographer, and I, we really talked about the concept and the flow and moving forward, how we're going to improve it, and we did decide that we should talk a little bit more about each business. If we go in or not, but we do go into businesses too. It really depends on which business it is and how busy they are. Because if you notice in these videos, whenever we go into business, we try not to get any people in there. It just expedites the process if you don't have to get people's approval, just to shoot the location and what they're doing. And obviously the employees don't mind, and we get the approval of the employees, or if the owner or the manager is there. But we've definitely decided that we want to spend a little bit more time talking about businesses, like the restaurants, kind of explain what the concept is or what they're popular for, to give a little bit more in depth and more flavor to it. Yeah, so I mean, it's kind of a process, and it's an evolution as we move forward with it.
So one of the things that we want to know is, what is the software that you're using to do the videos with?
That's a great question. I have no earthly idea. So basically, that is Greg, and he's got some editors. And you can see some of this stuff that recently they've done I've never seen before. There's one, you don't have to play it now, but if you go and look at the one, the Hoods of Spokane Autobahn, there are some really cool effects in that one that they've done I have not seen before. But that's part of what I'm paying him to do, or his editors. But I could find out what that is and let you know after.
Yeah, and I want to volunteer right now. Anybody who's a Canzel agent right now, if you commit to doing either a business highlight or a community neighborhood highlight, the first 5 people that get that highlight done by this Friday, we will edit that completely with our video team for you for free. Okay. You just take the videos on your iPhone, you email them, and we will edit that for you, but it has to be done by Friday. So if you are committed to doing it, type it in the chat and we will pick 5 lucky people who will get those edited for them. Let's talk a little bit about your follow-up that you do, because you've got such a systematized way that you follow up with people. And, we always say around here, it's follow up, and follow up again, or follow up until someone buys or dies. So
Right.
explain in as much detail as you can of what your follow-up system is.
Yeah, so a little bit background on me. I'm a career salesperson. I started in the hotel industry for 20 years in sales and marketing, and then I transitioned into technology, where I was vice president of sales or business development for some Fortune 40 companies as well as some startups. And I've just always been very systematic and very systems oriented. So I do a lot of things on my own. I'm a one person operation. I don't have an assistant. I don't have a coordinator. I don't. I should have a marketing person to take all that off my shoulders, but I can get all that stuff done on my own. And in doing that, I could still do 30 to 50 transactions a year, which is nice for me. I could do more if I wanted to, but I don't want to hire. I don't want to build a team. I've had that opportunity and chose not to. Um, so I just figure with between 30 and 50, I can get all this done. So basically, what I do is I use my CRM, which is provided by my brokerage. They just changed over, and it's through Salesforce. So I use my Salesforce
Oh my
back.
gosh, I hate Salesforce with a passion. But keep going, keep going. We're not going down that line.
It's funny,
That is like, to me, like death. Let's keep
well,
it.
in
Just say pick you whatever CRM you like. Keep
yeah, no, Chantel, in my corporate career, I was forced to use Salesforce for many years. I just got used to it, and you know,
going.
there are good things and bad things. But anyway, so I'm now using that to, for reminders, things like that. But what I also do, it's very simple. I use my Outlook, and when I use Outlook and I set reminders as I would an appointment. And that way they're on my calendar in either a 15 or a 30-minute block. And I color code them based on if it's a lead that I'm working, it's a certain color. If it's an in-person meeting or a phone call or an appointment, it's another color. That way it's on my calendar every day. So I can look tomorrow, I can look down the road in the week and see what my days are looking like, how much I have going on. And then I just follow that as the day goes on. And if I don't get to something at the end of the day, I'll review my schedule and I'll move it to the next day, or I'll quickly follow up as I need to. It's just a way just to get things done, without the ability of, or the advantage of having an assistant who's going to keep you on track and on task with those things. So it's really enabled me to do everything that I am without having to build out a staff.
I want to tell you, one of the reasons why I joined and I just love Canzel is that I can get 100% commission, I get revenue share, and I get stock. I am making thousands of dollars every single month in revenue share and stocks. And I now don't have to work nights and weekends on real estate anymore. I've actually never been to a real estate agent's retirement party, and I want to be the first one that people are coming to at a young age. And I want to share with you some of my favorite resources. So if you go to joincanzel.com/free, there's a couple that I want you to download. One is a 20 free lead generating PDF. It's going to help you generate leads for free that you can download, as well as there's one on how to double your business. I don't want you to miss it. Go download it today. joincanzel.com/free.
Yeah. And one of the things that I always encourage people to do, and we help you find that person, we charge a one-time fee of $1,000. We go ahead and we train them on a bunch of our systems and processes and video and all these different things. But we have some people in the Philippines that we can hire for $4 an hour and have as your assistant. And that's something that we really highly encourage people to do. So if anyone is interested in that, email admin@Canzel and we can help you to hire an assistant to do some of these things. Because again, even with those videos, if you just get a friend of yours to do it, like you don't necessarily need, like, it's great if you can do a video guy, and I mean your videos look amazing, but you could get a friend or your, teenage daughter or whatever to literally hold the camera, do the different shots, you upload them or email them, and we can make those videos look really, really good. And now you're paying someone $4 an hour to do that video for you instead of you wasting your time. And one of the best ones to do that video, our video team uses something called CapCut. And it's a very easy program for people to use. But if you look up something called CapCut, you can get a free version and then there's a paid version, and the paid one's very, very inexpensive. But I love what you said about using your Outlook for follow-up. Let's talk about what other things that you're doing as far as getting referrals from people. What kind of things are you doing to get referrals from your past clients?
So I send out a monthly newsletter in both digital and hard copy form. So I send about 75 hard copies, and they go mostly to my past clients if they've stayed locally. If they've moved out of town, Arizona, Texas, whatever it is, unless there's a really good friend relationship there, I don't waste my time on that because they're really not interested. I'll send them the digital copy because certainly I want a referral from them. But I'm always staying in touch with my past clients who are local. And then as I'm talking to other clients that I know may be looking to buy or sell soon, I'll add them to that list as well. So I make sure I do that. I try to send out, mass emails once every other month to my database, with something that would be relevant and informational to them. I really do not like to spam people with a lot of messages or a lot of emails. Unfortunately, everybody these days knows 15 realtors if they don't know more. So, they're getting that from a lot of other people. I take a very different approach, similar to my open houses. At the beginning of my career, I used to have everybody sign in and I'd follow up with every single person that came in, regardless if they told me they had a realtor or not, because as we know, a lot of people will say that because it's like when you're shopping, you don't want somebody to be asking you a lot of questions, just kind of want to look around and be on your own. Now I take a very different approach. I'm very upfront. I spend a lot of time with people in my open houses, and I give them my business card and say, listen, I build my business through referrals and customers who are happy, and 99% of my job is free information. So if you like what we're talking about, here's my information, reach back to me. And what I find is that when the people reach back, they're very high quality. So it's saving me time then when I start following up with those people, because I'm not just chasing every single person that may have just decided they saw an open house sign and it came through the door. So it's really trying to work smarter and having more high
That's
quality.
one of the things that I want you to expand on, because I think that just from talking to you, I can tell that your time management and your efficiency is really, really high. For you to be able to do that many transactions by yourself with no assistant and no team, that means you have to be extremely efficient and be extremely good on time management. So, what are you doing for time management and efficiency and holding yourself accountable?
Well, as far as time management, that's just something that I've learned through my career. It's something I've always kind of, looked at my calendar, made sure that I had time for meetings and follow up and things like that. And I didn't, overcommit myself in any day, because the worst thing in the world is when you've overcommit yourself and then you get buried and you feel buried. And I want to make sure that I have free time in the day, because as a realtor, things always come up. You get phone calls from people. Great example. Last week, I took my daughters down to Southern California for a short spring break, and I was at Disneyland, and I was literally negotiating two different deals on listings I had while I was standing in line, while I was having coffee, while I was hanging out with my daughters, just because that's real estate. So, you don't want to overload yourself on any given day. And then you definitely want to make sure that you're following up. So in my calendar, where I've got my Outlook reminders in there, I want to make sure they don't just sit. I want to make sure that I get in there, I jump into my CRM, I see what the last conversation was, whatever my note in that um, calendar said, and do it. And reach out if it's just touch base. Do you have time for a call? If you call and they don't answer, don't leave a voicemail, text them, because they're going to see the text much sooner before a voicemail. But with certain clients who would rather be talked to, you leave a voicemail. So it's really just following up and making sure all those things, all those tasks are done on a daily basis, and just not getting buried, because once you're buried, it's too easy to fall way behind. And in this business, if you fall behind, they're going to go to another realtor, they're going to sign a deal with somebody else, and you're going to have regret. And that's not a good thing. Too much regret is never a good thing.
Yeah, and I think, even the people who are like, let's say they're meeting, because with our company, agents get paid on other attracting other agents to the company. And I've seen where they've met with an agent and they're like, I think I am interested, but then they're not setting up that second appointment with them while they're on the call. And what I'm hearing you say is you're really utilizing that Outlook calendar where, like, let's say I'm talking with you and now I'm going to go ahead on that call and say, okay, let's set up a second appointment now and go ahead and put that in the calendar. Or if you don't get a hold of someone, you're utilizing your Outlook calendar and saying, okay, I've got to follow up with person A, B, C, and D this coming Friday, because just writing it down, that gets lost in the sauce. I love this idea of
Yeah.
utilizing your calendar.
Yeah, I prefer to have, because it's a digital record too. And the beauty of technology is it's always with you. So if you put it on your calendar on your desktop, it tracks with you on your phone. So you've got that wherever you go, you can always refer back to it. I work from a home office. I've worked remotely since 2005. Um, when I started in real estate, I did go to my brokerage's offices. I did have an office I shared, but very quickly I jumped out of that and just work out of my home, because I could do stuff here. But again, I'm always moving. So by having all that digitized, it's with me, and I can take it and refer back to it. I don't have to wait till I get back to my office to see what's next. Um, it's just in this world, and the life we live and the job we have, we can do this from anywhere. As long as you have, your data and your calendar and an internet connection and a phone and a credit card, you can get things done. And, I've just become very adept at getting those things done without having to be in an office.
So I love that. And one of the things that I'm hearing you say is that you're living and dying by your calendar. And so, like, I want to kind of hear, like, some of the habits that you have put in place where you say, okay, like for example, every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, I'm doing a business highlight at 10 a.m. Every, you know, at 11 a.m. every Tuesday and Thursday, I'm doing a community highlight. Every, first 2 hours of my day, I'm doing follow up and like using that calendar. So give us a sample of what that calendar, if someone, let's say someone wants to do as much business as you're doing in a year, what would that sample calendar look like? Like just, you don't have to be exact, but just, 9 to 10 is prospecting or 9 to 11 is making calls. What would that calendar look like?
Yeah, my brokerage, they probably wouldn't like me to hear or like to hear this from me, but I think they know this. Um, I don't block out time to make calls. It's just something I've been doing my entire career, so I don't need to block that out. But what I do block out is reminders. I participate in keeping matters current for some of my social content. So I've got reminders every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 8 a.m. to post something that day. So if I don't have one of my other social posts like Hoods of Spokane going up or a teaser for that or a blooper reel for that, I will post something out of Keeping Matters Current Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, first thing in the morning. And I'll make sure it goes on Instagram and Facebook, which are the two that I try to hit the most. But as an example, I just thought about I haven't been uploading those things to LinkedIn. So yesterday I posted one. I've got for the next 5 days a reminder 8:15 in the morning to post a new Hoods reel into LinkedIn because I've kind of forgot about using LinkedIn for a while. So, I'm kind of just put those reminders in, but I put them as ongoing and repeating reminders. There are some things I have, like, simple things like backing up my laptop, which I'll do once a month. So I've got a standing reminder at the beginning of every month to do that. So I kind of put those things in there. But again, I'm pretty good about knowing, um, if I have, active leads when I have to call them back. So I don't need to block out, say, 2 hours. I know a lot of agents when they start, they do that because they need to get in that routine. 7.5 years in, I've kind of got that routine down now that I don't necessarily do that for myself because I don't feel that I need that.
Yeah, so I want to talk about your habits for just a second because I believe that creating habits, I know that you guys have all probably read the book Atomic Habits, but just making those, and we actually have a cheat sheet, not really a cheat sheet, but it's basically the habits of successful real estate agents. And we kind of have like a checklist of a kind of a morning routine that you can do and kind of some of those other things like, did I make a post on LinkedIn? Did I do, Instagram, or did I put a post on Facebook? So what are some of the things that you additionally put in? And it sounds like you just put reminders in your Outlook calendar, which I like that a lot. Give us a few more things that you do that are on your to-do list that you do on a weekly or monthly basis.
On a weekly or monthly. Well, I mean, some of the things, as far as the structure goes, let me just change the topic just a little bit and kind of talk to it. Is when I have a transaction, when I get something signed, either on the buyer or seller side, I make two immediate entries into my Outlook. The first one is when the inspection response is due, either from the buyer or to the seller, and I put in when the closing date is, and I will put reminders or notifications for both those a few days before. So I don't get to that time and just caught off guard by it. And I'll actually put it in kind of a bigger block, like 2 hours, and it's actually a very specific color. I think it's like a peachy color, because that's the only thing that I use those for. So on my calendar, as I'm looking at my week ahead, if I see that color, it'll remind me I've got something transaction based that is absolutely due within that week. Um, and again, that kind of helps me scheduling things because then I can check back if it's the inspection with the inspector, if it's a closing with the escrow with the lender, things like that to make sure that I'm on track.
Yeah, that's so good. Well, I am going to send out to the agents. If you're interested, you can go to joincanzel.com/free. If you're an agent already with us, we will email that out to you. But it's just basically a kind of $1 million checklist, and it's just the essential activities that every agent should be doing on an everyday basis. And so if you want to get your productivity to soar, you've got to get your daily tasks, and you just make it a habit of every single day. You do the same things over and over. It's kind of robotic almost, but it really works. So this has been amazing. Tell us where people can find you and how they can follow you and send referrals out to the Spokane area.
Oh, excellent. Yeah, so you can find obviously, hoods.of.spokane on Instagram. And then my business Instagram is Silbar, SILBAR.homes, HOMES. You could reach me through there. If you just Google me, obviously we're realtors, so there's a lot of public information out there. But I've also posted a lot of content too. One of the stints I had probably in my second career was I worked for a digital marketing company out of New York City. And what I learned from that one experience was the value of creating content, which definitely plays into everything we do here. So, you could definitely find that content out there. But I would love to help you if you have any clients coming to Spokane, the greater Spokane area. It's a great place to live. We have a lot of people leaving big cities and coming here. It was one of the hottest markets for a few years running, up until last year. So, but it's a great place. Cost of living is less than a big city. Quality of life is amazing. We've got, as I say, we have everything but professional sports, although we now do have a professional soccer team. And we do have the Gonzaga Bulldogs. So we do have a college team that is professional in a lot of regards. But it's a great place. So, I mean, if you have any clients who are looking for a cool place to move to,
And it sounds like you guys have good restaurants too.
It's kind of an incubator for a lot of independent restaurants, which is great. So we do have chain restaurants. I'm not a huge fan of chain restaurants, but you can go through life in Spokane and never go to a chain. There are so many great restaurants here, so it's a great place. And we've got lakes, mountains, rivers, you name it, we pretty much have it. So it's a nice little city. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for being with us. This was
My
awesome.
pleasure.
Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe, leave a rating and a review so we can get this out to more agents. And tune in next week for another power-packed episode. This is the Millionaire Real Estate Podcast.